Hey, my name is Amy Henderson, and today I'm going to be showing you how to recreate this Howler Brothers patch on Adobe Illustrator. I just found the reference picture for the hat and the patch online and put it into my file so that I could reference it throughout the whole entire project. I started by using the rounded rectangle tool just to create the shape of the patch, and then I used the direct selection tool to manipulate the corners just to get the shape of the patch more accurate. Whenever I need to add a point to the shape to manipulate it, I use the pen tool to add the point. This allowed me to make a curved line out of a straight line, and then I also added a stroke to my shape just so that it would be easier to see as I was editing. I worked with the corners and rounded them out to try and make them as accurate as possible, just looking at the reference photo as I did so. And this probably took the longest out of the whole entire process, but truly with any Adobe application, but especially Illustrator, practice makes perfect. I even ended up copying half of the bottom shape just to make sure that they matched up perfectly. I then started on the text. I just had to find a sans serif font, and I looked at the reference photo as I did this and tried to match it as best that I can. But that was actually a little bit easier than I thought it would be because compared to some of their other designs, this font seemed pretty standard. I used the curved pen tool to type on a path just to give the font a curved look like it had in the reference photo. And then I edited the font size, the font weight, and then the tracking just to make sure that it looked as close as it could to the real thing. And then I began to edit the rest of the text in the same way. For the bigger H that is on the patch, I actually had to find a serif font to use. And again, I just kind of went through the fonts that were already in Adobe Illustrator, played around with those. I edited the little serif feet on the inside of the H just to match the one in the reference photo more. And then I just create a bigger space in between the bars of the H to make sure that I had space for the little lightning bolt shape. I created the lightning bolt shape using the pen tool, and then I edited the size and look of it using the direct selection tool. Then I went in with the stroke and kind of played around with that to give it a thicker effect. After I was done with all my text, I was ready to add color to the graphics, so I just used the picker tool and took color straight off of the reference photo and then edited each one to make them to my liking and to make them more accurate. So stuff can always go wrong when you're playing around with Illustrator, and that happened with me. I was using the Pathfinder tool to try and separate the background shape and the foreground shape because the background color was coming through when I was editing the opacity of the foreground shape, and I ended up chopping the shape in half. But it was an easy fix, and also I think that going through issues like that help you learn the application better. So I was able just to select the two shapes that got chopped and just unite them using the Pathfinder tool. Obviously they achieve this stitched effect on the patch by having it actually stitched, but whenever I'm editing graphics of a patch, I like to play around and see what it would look like if it was actually stitched. And so you can achieve this by selecting your whole graphic and then going to Effect, clicking Texture, and then clicking Texturizer, and it gives a really cool stitched effect, which kind of helps bring the whole design all together. This also helped me see how some of the words might look a little thinner if they're stitched, so I just played around with font size and with thickness and stroke just to make sure that each little letter and each text was exactly to my liking. Then added the yellow background just to tie in all the colors of the hat into my graphic. And once again, I had to play around with the Pathfinder tool because my slightly transparent foreground shape was again being affected by the background shape. But I got that all figured out, and then I added texture to the background yellow as well. I love the look of retro patches, so playing around with the shapes and lettering is always a lot of fun for me. I also think that finding graphics that you like and having little projects where you recreate any branding or logos or graphics really helps you understand the tools of Illustrator best while also kind of helping you develop a style of your own. So I hope you find maybe another patch that you like or another logo that's already out there in the world and play around with it and see what you come up with. Thanks for watching. Bye.